Today we are making sushi rice without a rice cooker. If you have a rice cooker, you should certainly use it. But if not, the oven will work just as well. Let's preheat it to 375 degrees and get started. I have 300 grams of short grain sushi rice here. No basmati, arborio or Uncle Ben's, please. Our first step is to wash the rice to remove excess starch. Let's put it into a fine mesh strainer, set it into a bowl and pour in enough water to cover the rice. Normally, the rice is washed right in the rice cooker, and then the starchy water is carefully poured out before new cooking water is added. If some rinsing water is left in the rice, that's fine because the rice cooker has marks that tell you how high to add the cooking water for a certain amount of rice. Unfortunately, this method poses a problem if you don't have a rice cooker. When you try to dump the rinsing water to the last drop, you can easily dump some of the rice into the sink. And if you leave some of the rinsing water in the pot, your ratio of rice to water will be off. That's why I'm using a strainer and a bowl. The bowl allows me to submerge the rice to loosen the starch and remove as much of it as possible. And the strainer allows me to drain all the water, making sure my rice to water ratio is correct. Once the water you dump looks clear, let the rice sit for 5 minutes over a bowl to drain. Let's put the rice into a Pyrex dish, mine is 8 by 8, but any similar size will work. A pot works too, but a flat dish produces most even cooking in the oven. For 300 grams of rice, I'll need 390 grams of boiling water. Once the water is added, immediately cover the dish very tightly with heavy-duty foil or 2 pieces of regular foil and place in the middle of the oven for 20 minutes. Try not to shake the dish to avoid spilling the water. Alternatively, you can cook the rice in a pot on the stovetop. Start on high heat with a covered pot, and as soon as you see the first whiffs of steam, move the pot to low heat for 20 minutes. What the oven gives you is a guarantee that the bottom grains won't stick and burn. But if you have a good heavy-bottomed pot and a burner that can maintain reliably low heat, the stovetop works equally well. The only ingredient difference between the stovetop and the oven is the temperature of the water. If cooking rice on the stovetop, feel free to use cold water. But if you are doing it in the oven, make sure to start with boiling water because the indirect heat of the oven will take forever to bring the water to a boil. When the cooking time is up, let the rice rest for 20 minutes before you open it. No peeking, please. It's crucial to keep the steam in the pot. While we wait, let's prepare our vinegar. By the way, did you know that sushi means vinegared rice? That's right, it has nothing to do with raw fish in Japanese language. Make sure the ingredients of your rice wine vinegar don't include sugar and salt. We want to have full control over how much of those we add. We'll need 50 grams vinegar, 25 grams sugar, and 6 grams of salt. Heat it up over low heat, stirring until the salt and sugar dissolve. You want the vinegar hot, but not boiling. Our rice is well rested and ready for dressing. See how the bottom grains are perfectly cooked and not stuck or burnt? I'll move it into this big wood bowl known as hangiri. But if you don't have one, any white stainless steel or glass bowl will work. In a pinch, you can even mix your rice right in the Pyrex dish. Let's add the vinegar mix. Cut through your rice with a flat wooden spoon to integrate the vinegar. You want to minimize circular mixing motion so that you don't smash the rice grains. Imagine that your mission is to separate every single grain of rice in this bowl. Of course, I don't mean that literally, but that's the ideal we're shooting for. Go around the sides to rearrange the rice and then go back to cutting. Keep doing this until the rice looks completely uniform with no clumps. Let me taste it for salt and acidity. Keep in mind that the flavors will dull as the rice cools, so it should be very aggressively seasoned. I actually love hot sushi rice, and it's a big challenge for me not to eat the whole bowl right here and now. Let's move the rice to the side of the bowl to make a pile and cover it with a wet paper towel so that it doesn't dry out as it cools. Give your rice 10 minutes of rest and it's ready to work with. You can keep it at room temperature for a few hours. Just keep checking your paper towels, and if they dry out, get them wet again. Don't refrigerate sushi rice. It becomes too hard for shaping and tastes just as stale as the supermarket takeout sushi. We have our rice, so I can officially announce the start of the sushi series. To learn to make sashimi, nigiri, and maki rolls, don't forget to subscribe to Helen's Kitchen channel. And if you're ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.